Let's take a look at the rankings. The Nordic nations remain the most gender-equal societies in the world, Iceland in the lead. South Africa not doing too badly. We come in at number 17 out of 145 countries. We're behind, if you can believe, fellow African country Rwanda. That is doing very well, coming in at number 6. But we're ahead of the UK and the USA, as well as Russia at 75, China at 91. The improvements in South Africa have been slow. We've only moved one place over the past 10 years, and we've regressed slightly when it comes to women receiving an education. Well, let's discuss further. We're now joined by Shireen Chengadu, Executive Director of the Centre of Leadership and Dialogue at GIBS. Great to have you with us, Shireen.
Hello,
so should we be happy or sad about this global trend, positive but slow developments?
I don't think it's right to say we should be happy, because if I go back to what your opening comment was, it will take us 100 years, certainly not in your lifetime or my lifetime, before we start to see parity. And by then, other shifts will happen that may have an adverse effect. So happy is not quite the word I would use to describe it, but any growth or kind of subtle change is welcome. But it's far too slow for us to see the seismic shift that will yield proper results.
And one day the world will look back and say, why was this happening? There's no good reason for it. Do you agree with me?
There's absolutely no good reason. So, and here's the truth of the story. Let's look at the South African scenario. South Africa has 51% of this population is women. And yet, if you look at the economic indicators and you look at the growth in our country, we hover and are stagnant below the 2% mark. Yet, if we use our full human potential, 51% of women, and utilize them to their full potential, we may have a different result to report. And so we actually will look back and go, the answer was there in front of us all the time, but we didn't enable. And that's the problem.
Well, let me ask you to elaborate on the case for gender equality. Why is it so important for men to be insisting that this gender gap is closed?
It's twofold, Francis. One is about smart economics. If you want to improve the results of your business, you'd make sure that you have a diverse group of people in your leadership, for example, so that you have different perspectives. And reports in the recent years have shown, empirical evidence demonstrates that the more diverse your leadership team is, for example, at the top level, the better your bottom line results are. So there's that, the smart economics, the investment in women and girl children for economic outcome. But behind that is that of the gender or justice-based rights of women. Women have been doubly or trebly prejudiced for a long, long time by social construct, biological construct, colonial, patriarchal, you can list all of those. So the argument is justice-based rights as well as economic rights of women.
How are women doing in South Africa? Looking at this report, it looks like we're very equal when it comes to health, that's in terms of life expectancy, things like that. Politics, pretty good. Looking at Parliament today, you see women in ministerial posts, women in Parliament. But perhaps even a regression when it comes to education. Does that worry you?
That's quite surprising from this report. When I looked at the stats just 2 or 3 years ago, 60% of our graduates at university level were women. And so the numbers that you present from this report, and I didn't have time to go into the details of the report because it just came out of a short while ago, this is quite surprising. I think what women may be choosing to study at higher education may be part of the problem. Because if you choose certain areas to focus on, certain faculties or qualifications, they may only take you up to a certain level, maybe entry-level management or middle management, and they don't enable you to move into executive positions.
I think we should chat again about this sometime. The Reserve Bank governor saying the same. The former one, Jill Marcus, maths, the economic studies, things like that. Women should not be afraid of them. But thank you so much for your analysis tonight. That was Shireen Chengadu from Gibbs. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. That's a wrap of your business news for now. I'll be back with a quick bulletin.